Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Join Reiki Master and Quantum Healing expert Wes Coons as he guides listeners through the depths of self-discovery and spiritual enlightenment to uncover the version of you we haven't met yet. Hello and welcome back to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Wes, we just got back from the WTF episode.
I know, right? That was so much fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It was, I don't know how much fun it was for me, but yeah, it was good.
It was good. The top 10 WTF moments. I love it.
Yeah.
I know you did.
Yeah, and we just had, Dee came in and recorded an episode. Then we had dinner with her. That was really nice, yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. Mm-hmm. I love when we have guests on.
I know, it's fantastic. I mean, I got to watch you guys do the dishes and stuff. That was great.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yes. So what have you been up to? Like, we gained some new countries.
Yeah, we picked up India. I think we've got Poland. Then if you look on the YouTube, we've got the numbers through YouTube are crazy.
Yeah.
The statistics are a little hard to you would think it'd be an easier system to manage and look at. However, the cool thing is the message is getting around the world. And the message of hope, the message of we can find the beauty in the pain. We can heal from things in an instant. It doesn't have to take years. So that's what we're talking about. But we're talking about my spiritual awakening, the way it happened specifically for me. It's not going to happen that way for you. And there's lots of parts to it, isn't it?
Yes, a ton of parts. And I'm glad you said the beauty and the pain and hope, because really after the WTF episode, you wanted to reel it back in and really talk about, you know, the beauty that came from those traumatic events, because everything's been really heavy so far.
Yeah. And when we were talking about the show, it just felt right to reiterate what the show is about. The show is about, even when something painful happens in your life, there's an opportunity there. There's an opportunity for healing. There's an opportunity for growth. And I like to call that the beauty and the pain. Yeah. Because it's been painful as fuck for me.
Yeah. So. No, I've seen it. You laugh, but yeah, I can see the pain that you've gone through. So, but we appreciate you sharing your story, because it does bring a message of hope to other people.
I've had such an amazing response from a lot of people. Sometimes, a lot of times I don't understand that. And I've had people say, I resonate with what you're saying. You've helped me heal something. You've given me a different perspective to look at. And I am happy to be at the front of the storm so people can stand behind me and take the lessons that we're learning, the thoughts, the thought processes, the theories that we have, and change who they are so they can heal and become the person they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so I'll do that. That's why I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
You know, to fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves. That's why I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah. And we thank you for your service.
Well, it is the greatest fighting force in the world. I'm just saying.
That's what you keep telling us.
I know. And my buddy Nate, what's up, man? We're going to go to Chesty Polar's house and we're going to fucking record an episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's going to be badass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to dive in? I think you were going to talk about like some of the moments that were painful, but then you got something beautiful out of it.
The question I posed to myself, and then we ultimately discussed, was what was the purpose of this? There's so many moving parts, and I kind of, and this is for me, I'm being a little selfish, because I needed to break down what was going on, because it is heavy. It's taken me back to relive that trauma at a very high level, because I never healed it before. I've not done this work. I've not done that healing work. So I'm doing that now. And like fresh, frozen, it's live for us and recorded for them. But I'm going through that healing process in front of the world. And it's been, I needed to look at a different perspective, right? Yeah. I needed to take my own advice. Mm-hmm. So when I was looking at that, I went through everything to become the person I'm supposed to be. right?
Yeah.
I mean, God had this divine plan. So if I'm looking at this plan, I mean, it goes all the way back to before I was born. My Uncle Robert joined the United States Marine Corps. He was the youngest service member at the time to receive the Medal of Honor during the Tet Offense of 1968. And when Uncle Robert died, that cemented in our family a Medal of Honor winner. That's a big deal. That's the blood that runs through our veins, is that fucking dude right there. And he was key for me to join the Marine Corps. And I believe if I had not joined the Marine Corps, I would not have survived episode 1. Right? Because in episode 1, that one day in Marine Corps boot camp when Cochran was just destroying us. And at that time, I had just gone through about 2 weeks of, I had stood up incorrectly at the rifle range. Or at least they said I did. And when the drill instructor came up to me, the issue with that is if your weapon is on your shoulder, he felt that I had it tilted too high. So basically the barrel was tilted too low. So if there was a round in the chamber, it could shoot somebody, was the issue, right?
Okay.
So as he yelled at me, he went to grab my weapon. There's a sling that goes from the weapon around your bicep so you can hold the weapon still. Well, as he pulled that, he thought that I was pulling back because he felt that resistance. And then he hit me in the face with the front side post of my weapon, and it cut me above my eye. Well, if you get cut there, you bleed a lot. So for me, I just went through that. He got in trouble because he couldn't hide it. And then he was just fucking me up for about 2 weeks. So he was pulling me to the side, PTing me for sometimes hours at a time, kicking me in the ribs. It was not a pleasant, it was not a pleasant time for me. So now we've got the meanest dude I've ever met on the planet taking us somewhere where nobody's going to see. I was nervous. And so that day saved my life because I realized 30 some years later, they couldn't kill me. All they could do is torture me. And I'm like, fuck, I signed up for that shit. You can't do nothing any more than the Marine Corps has done. And it gave me that mental toughness. It gave me that ability to just disconnect. And it saved me. So when you look at that divine plan, it went all the way back to there. So step 1 is we're going to take Wes through this process. Step 2 is he needs to find God. So for me, finding God, when I was seeing those demons, the beauty and the pain was if that demon's real, I was like, well, I guess God has to be real, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, how in the fuck am I seeing this thing looking at me with jagged teeth? That is real, and I got a picture of it. So it got me thinking about the other aspects of life. I don't know, spirituality, religion, I don't know what you call it. But I started down that journey of, well, God must be real. These things must be real. And that was a lot for me to process because I was so angry. And I don't remember what episode we did it, but where the priest took me back in time to where just before I was, something bad was going to happen with this other individual, he had me look around the room and look for Jesus, remember?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And as I looked over, there was a picture, and he says, no, son, I want you to look for him like the real Jesus. And I was so pissed off. I was so angry. I was sobbing. I was fucking crawling out of my skin. And I specifically remember saying, what the fuck, Father? I didn't fucking care I was in church.
Yeah.
What are you gonna fucking do to me? Stick a demon on my ass? I mean, and he was cool with it. He knew where I was at. And then I look over and I'm seeing Jesus crying, watching this person do things to me. That changed everything. Because that was when I got my faith. And I realized that no matter what I do, I could walk with my child everywhere in the world. I could look left, they could look right, and something happened. I can't protect them. However, I can love them through everything. I can love them and support them and be there. And that's what Jesus does for me. And that's what Jesus does for everybody. And I never in a million years would have comprehended that. I had to see it. So part of this divine, beautiful plan is I had to be molested as a little boy to have a demon placed inside me during that. And then come to this priest and see that these things are real. And I wouldn't have seen any of that had I not seen the demons. It's all layered. It's all perfectly put together.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't see it until we get some distance from it.
Yeah. So on top of that, I asked the question today, and the question I posed to, I asked God, I said, why did all this happen at once? And I heard him say, because you can take it. So I didn't go through finding God and all this stuff. And, oh, by the way, now we're going to give you these really cool spiritual gifts and you need to figure this stuff out. No, we did it all. we did it all at one time. And it's like cutting your arm off, sewing it shut, putting a Band-Aid on. Oh, let me pull the Band-Aid off and put another one on, and you can take it. Because that's what it was. I didn't understand I had gifts. I just didn't know what was going on. Linda is like, oh, you've got gifts, you've got power, you're powerful. And I'm thinking, oh, bullshit, I'm not powerful. This is what you tell the schlep who is super, super messed up. And we don't want him to hurt himself. We're giving him some hope. I didn't know. Why would I have gifts? I hated myself so much. If somebody's told me, said, oh yeah, my wife and I were at dinner last night and we were talking about you, I would almost be in tears not understanding why. Why would you talk about me?
Yeah.
You know, I'm fucking nothing. You know, the reality is that's not true. Mm-hmm. The reality is I am successful in real estate. I've got a successful real estate company. I am a wonderful father. I'm a wonderful person. I'm doing God's work now. But before that, I was doing things for people and doing random acts of kindness. And I'm a good person that just needed some healing. And I was so broken, I couldn't see really what I was. I didn't know I could take up space. I didn't know I was allowed to walk into that room, be present, stay in my power, and be comfortable with that. Right?
Yeah.
So I would go in a room with other real estate broker owners and I would feel less than. And the reality is I'm probably got more education, more skill set, more training, more whatever with 30, 31 years in the industry than 95% of them.
Right.
But my negative thinking was I was weak, broken, and stupid. And that's a fucking lie. Right? So as you fast forward in this, I don't even know what you call it. I mean, if you fast forward in this journey that started before I was born, which is crazy to think about, God says at 50 years old, we're turning this on for this dude. We're going to fast track it. We're going to put demons there to find me. We're going to put a priest there to help him find me. We're going to put Ty there to help protect me. So in comes my guardian angel. And I didn't want him. He's a brand new real estate agent, and they can be difficult to train. I don't have a company that supports that. There's some companies that do. Mine specifically does not. And that's just how it's designed. And he doesn't go away. He keeps showing up. And then all of a sudden, he comes in, and he gives me this sword, this saber, this non-commissioned officer's Marine Corps sword that somebody was going to throw away. I mean, who fucking throws that away?
Yeah, right?
I mean, nobody fucking throws that away. I think I've seen, when I was in the Marine Corps, they weren't common. We didn't have dress blues issued to us. So it was a little bit different time. So I had only seen one time, and he walks in, he says, "Would you like it?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'd like that." It's one of my most treasured things that I have. And except for the Navy SEALs gave me this plaque for this work I did for them to raise money for one of their fallen brothers. And those two things are sacred to me. And he and I became best friends. So God sent somebody in to help me, to support me through this. And then starts connecting all these dots. Everything came at perfect timing. Now, it wasn't my fucking timing, but it was all perfect timing, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to add in the trauma. Because I was thinking, I'm like, why did I have to go through all these things? And I've had a lot of painful things happen in my life. I can't be the healer that I'm supposed to be if I've not been through that stuff. How am I supposed to be empathetic with somebody who was molested if I wasn't molested? It was part of my gift. So when somebody comes in carrying guilt, shame, the energy of being molested, the energy of being abused, or whatever you want to call that, I know what that is because I've carried it. I know it in a second. I know how to connect with them. I know how to heal them. I know how to help them. And they're not alone. Right? So that's why we're telling the world this story, because you're not alone. You're not alone sitting home saying, this person did this to me, or that person did that, or I made this mistake and I hurt some people. Somebody messaged me a couple days ago about the show. And she said, "But you don't know what I did." Mm. And I told her, I said, "Ma'am, it doesn't matter what you did.
Yeah.
It doesn't define you." And I told her, it doesn't matter what you've done. What matters is what you do in the future. Right? If you've hurt somebody, hey, let me share this with you. If you hurt somebody, you go, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, I made a mistake. And what I said was rude, inconsiderate, and I know I hurt you deeply. And I want you to know that I see that, I recognize that, and I am terribly sorry. I hope you can accept my apology, and I'm never going to do that again." That's called a fucking apology, right? Not, "Oh, sorry." That ain't an apology. There's a difference. When you're healing from something, there's different energy. I was talking to somebody the other day. I was guiding them through something, and she is pulling back from some people in her life. And I reminded her, I want you to look at the transition where you're pulling back is you're keeping your energy sacred. You're not hiding. And she's like, "What's the difference?" I said, hiding means you did something wrong and it's a victim energy. If you're keeping your energy sacred and you're stepping back, it's a higher vibration. So we can look at it as a negative thing, or we can look at it as a positive thing. I'm keeping my energy sacred. I need a timeout, and I'm taking it. So I'm taking up space. I'm choosing me. I'm taking a higher vibration, and I'm taking a break. And I told her, fucking block them. Dude, I'll block a motherfucker. You know that.
I know. I've been on the receiving end of blocks. But that's a very good distinction, Wes. I think for people to understand, there's a difference between hiding and just holding your energy sacred.
Yeah. You got something going on, and sometimes you have to love people from a distance, right?
Yeah.
So when you do that, you're keeping your energy sacred. Or you're hiding from the family. Oh, Wes is hiding from the family. He doesn't come to any of the parties. No, I choose not to go to the party because there's probably people there that I don't feel comfortable with. And I am looking at my mental health and my safety and saying, yeah, I'm going to keep my energy sacred, and I'm going to send a birthday card or whatever that looks like, right?
Right.
I told her, I said, you can unblock them later if it's too much. And what it was her friends cared about her, but she needed some space. Take the space.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how you can go and look at a situation And if you really look at it with an open heart, if you really look at what opportunity is here for me, that's when, Andrea, that's when you heal in a second, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's not going to hurt for a little bit. However, I can hurt for a longer time feeling like I've been victimized, that I've been taken advantage of, that somebody was mean to me or whatever, or look at it as if I had paid attention to those red flags and decided to get away from that person earlier, I wouldn't be going through this right now. I'm taking responsibility for my actions for being around somebody that's unsafe. It shifts the energy.
Well, and I think personally, it gives you your power back when you start taking accountability for everything that comes into your life. It gives you real power.
It does. It does. Somebody told me a few years ago, and it's bothered me a lot. They said the devil is going to attack you through women that show up in your life, right? In some of my past relationships, they've not ended well. The reality is, and really, in a lot of them, I never knew how to date. I didn't know what to look for. I was married 20 some years or whatever. They don't teach you how to date. So as you're going through this dating process, you're seeing behaviors that maybe you've never seen before. And when you start to pay attention to that, you're like, okay, that's a red flag. That's a non-negotiable for me. But that's a healthy person thinking that way. Somebody who doesn't know how to date or think that way, well, I don't know what that is. She's pretty hot. We're going to figure it out. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, that person is got something going on. It's not safe. And at that point, I can make a decision, choose to go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And if I don't worry. I'm probably going to pay the price for that. But they told me they're going to send people that way. And I've had some people come into my life that have just fucking shattered me. But I'm so thankful that they did. I've learned so much from that. I've learned what like a dismissive behavior looks like. I've learned what a narcissist looks like. I've learned things because I never knew before, because they broke me so I could put the pieces back together the way they're supposed to be so I could be healthy. And when I see somebody who's probably a very nice person, however, it's not a safe person for me to date. And I shift gears and go somewhere else. That's what those gifts were. So when that was presented to me, it's really bothered me. And I've re-looked at how that plays out. And the reality is I've got more skills, more gifts, more education. I'm more well-rounded. I'm better healed going through that. And I needed to be healed at this point in my life to step into being the healer that I am, the healer I'm going to be, right?
Yeah.
So they send in Ty. He does his stuff. I mean, he's traveling the world working right now. And pretty sure he's getting in the movie industry, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
he's trying.
movies.
He is, second to me, the most shockingly good-looking person I've ever met. But then they send you. I believe you were divinely sent. I believe Ty was divinely sent. Ty got me through that, and they sent you here to have me write the book, to have me do the podcast, to have me do these things, because these are your ideas. You're the driving force in this stuff, not me. You are. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Wes. I appreciate that. And do you mind if I share a little story?
Oh, no, you're not.
Okay.
You're not allowed to do that. No.
When Wes, you say that, like I've said to Wes many times that like doing this podcast was set in motion many years ago. I was driving down Virginia Beach Boulevard and I got a message, a download, and I'd never had one before. And it was do a podcast. And I was like, well, that's dumb. I don't even listen to podcasts. And by the time I got to work, I was telling my boss, I'm going to start a podcast here. And they told me no for 2 solid years. You're not going to do that. And I kept fighting for it. And I didn't know why I was fighting for it. I kept telling myself, this is dumb. Why am I fighting for this? And then eventually they let me do a podcast, and I'm still doing it with them now. But I believe that was sent to me to help me bring Wes's message to the world, to help me be a part of it so many years later. Like, and that's what we're talking about, like how those things, you don't realize that they're lining up.
Yeah.
But they are lining up, and you don't realize it until you get some distance from it.
They brought Linda and Kathleen in to bring me to Sandra Grace. Sandra Grace brings me to Jackie. Jackie brings me to Lakota. Jackie brings me to Margaret, right? God brought me to Trinae, and these people have been divinely placed in my life to do things. And I don't know who's divinely coming next, but I know people are. And this is not an ego statement I'm talking about. This is God's work, right? God has a plan for us. I believe. I see it. You know, he speaks to me through, funny enough, fucking some of the social media videos that come through have helped me understand things in my life. I like Joel Osteen. I like his message. And I turned it on today. We got in the truck today, and it turned it right on to something that has been a question mark for me. And every time I have a question mark, I get in the truck, and that message is right there. So I was talking to my friend Amber, and she says, how does God talk to you so much? I don't know how to hear that. He doesn't talk to me. And I'm like, yes, he does. We think it's going to be this burning bush, but it's the radio station. It's a song. It's a stranger coming up to you and saying something or paying you a compliment. It's the butterfly that your deceased mother has taken control of to come and visit you. There's things there. There's signs there. In our book, What Color is Your Dragon? Sydney's talking to Taylor in the hallway, and he says, I don't have a dragon. And she says, yes, you do. You have to look up for your blessings. And the dragon was up. You can't find your path looking at your feet.
Yeah.
You know, it just taking like that whole series. God downloaded that at our kitchen table, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he showed me the pictures, and I drew it out just bawling. And then Andrea and I worked on it, and she made these things come alive. But that's the direction he wanted us to do, because he knows we need to save our children.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole book series is about. And this isn't right here talking about selling a fucking book. This is talking about saving our babies. They're so confused right now. They don't know if they're men, they're women. They identify as a fucking porcupine. I'm like, all right, why don't we create a book that says you're beautiful, you're gifted, you're loved. We can be friends even if we don't look at each other the same, if we're not the same color. God forbid if we vote for a different president, we can still be friends. And our country's forgetting those things.
And the message really is love, right? Like
Yes.
we can love one another and love yourself. I mean, you've talked several times on the show about how hard that has been for you.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, so hard for just about everyone, you know?
Yeah.
And what if we can instill self-love in our children? Like, they won't have to struggle like we do.
Yeah. Exactly. Right? We grew up in a different time, and now there's all this technology, and you go to dinner and you see this family, and there's a family of 5, and the 7-year-old's on his cell phone, and I'm like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. You ain't going to be on a cell phone at our fucking dinner. I might do it to you sometimes. But if we're sitting there as a family unit, my kids aren't going to be on a phone. I'm not going to be on my laptop.
Yeah.
We're going to fucking have that family time. And I don't know. If I look at the big picture, God did it perfectly. He did it perfectly. It was painful. It was painful as fuck. However, I never would have gone to the priest if I wasn't in that much pain. I would not have taken Reiki courses if I wasn't so scared. I would not have done any of those things if I wasn't on the verge of being destroyed. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
That is, my faith was so non-existent, I had to be crippled to move forward. And I had a choice. That movie from Shawshank Redemption, get on living or get on dying. I laid down, asked God to take me. He didn't take me. I'm not going to do it myself. Trust me, I've asked him to take me many times. I had the chance last June 5th when I had that AFib, my heart rate hit 275. I knew if I went to lay down, I was going home. I chose to go to the hospital. That's the first time I've ever chosen to be on this planet. It's the first time I've ever chosen to be in this life. I've never felt like I belonged here. I never wanted to be here. I wasn't suicidal, but I didn't want to fucking be here. Even as a little boy, I remember telling Mom, I didn't ask to come here. I don't know what fucking soul contract I signed. I thought I was ordering a fucking bucket of KFC or something. Sign right here, pal. And that's just where I was at. And there's other people out there that feel that way. We can heal in a second. We can change in a moment. But if you're not fucking looking for the gifts and looking for the blessings, you ain't going to see it.
Yeah.
And Andrea, I would love to say that I don't struggle with depression, that I don't struggle with negative thoughts, that I don't struggle with unworthiness or whatever, but I do. Mm-hmm. You know, you see people like us doing these shows or people on TV and like, oh, they got it all down. You know, they're perfect. They're talking about it. They're teaching it. Well, we're talking about it and teaching it because we go through it.
Yeah. I had someone reach out to me on Instagram and just really say, it was kind of hurtful to me, like, why would I listen to you? You sound like you've never experienced anything negative in your life.
Yeah.
And that's not true. It's because of those negative things. I think sometimes that we can be in the position that we know how bad it hurts, that we want to try to help other people not hurt.
Yeah. And this show is healing.
Yeah.
So healing for me, I know it's healing for you, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The last few years, I've existed. I haven't been living my life. I've had a very difficult time. And of all things, I got invited to a concert last night. I got invited to the Violent Femmes concert in Virginia Beach. It was fucking fantastic, by the way. And I remember sitting there feeling alone in the chair. And there's people around me that knew me. I mean, these days, everywhere I go, I see a healing client. So I got to see one of my favorite clients who I was lucky enough to help her. She was going through some things, and she's standing up there by the stage dancing with this big smile on her face. She'd never seen me, but I enjoyed watching somebody who I got to be around while Jesus flowed through me to help heal her. And when I first met her, she would not have been doing those things, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I noticed myself starting to smile. And I just something released. Just something went away. This cage that was on me just went away. And I was smiling, I was dancing, I was singing all the songs, and I've begged for that feeling most of my life. And for whatever reason, it switched. And I think part of that is, we're talking about growing my healing business and stuff. I turned it over to you. I said, Andrea, you manage it. You set the schedule, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we both see the vision for what it is, and you're meant for so much.
Yeah. We are going to fucking heal this world.
Yeah. We fucking are. We have to do it kicking and screaming like that's just, I see it so clearly. I see it so clearly.
I mean, if Wes is in charge of that part, it's not going anywhere. If Andrea is in charge of that part, we're changing lives. And so thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. We talked on this podcast where we had a falling out for a couple months this year, and we weren't doing any of this work.
Yeah.
And that to me was such a difficult part of my life, because I say all the time, like, this is our purpose work. This is why we're here on this earth.
Yeah.
And to not have that to do for those, 2 months or however long it was, I mean, it almost destroyed me. And having it again, seeing that vision and knowing, all right, we're going to make this vision a reality, and we're going to heal the world. And people laugh like, oh, you're not going to heal the world. We are going to heal the fucking world.
Yeah. And, the honest answer during that time, I was associating with somebody I shouldn't have been associating with. And I was spending time with somebody that never fucking chooses me. And I seen Trinae, I had missed her book signing because I was caught up in my bullshit and off with somebody that I shouldn't have been off with because they didn't choose me. And she looked at me, she says, you didn't fucking show up for my thing. Andrea chooses you. I choose you. Jason chooses you. These people choose you. And you're continuously not choosing yourself because you're choosing to be around people that don't give a fuck about you. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. We didn't stop working together because of that. However, during that time, that energy was there. And it was only there for a little bit. But the reality is, I allowed myself to spend time with somebody that doesn't fucking care about me. So there was a lesson there for that. And that lesson was, gosh, I'm fucking miserable. And the people that bring me light and the people that love me and stuff, I've turned my fucking back on. I apologize about that.
I know. I accept your apology. Hey, to me, the past is something we can't hold in our hands. It's gone. And I am just grateful for what the future holds.
Yeah. And when Trinae delivered that message, if you've ever worked with Trinae, she's funny. She's like, I don't know. She says something like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm like, yeah, like you fucking ever have. But dude, she handed me my ass. I was embarrassed. I insulted her. I disrespected her. And because I wasn't there for her, and she's been there for me so many times. And I apologized to her, and I'm going to apologize to her again now. I'm sorry, Trinae. I'll never turn my back on you again. And she was right. This isn't about the other person. This is about Wesley Coons continuously not fucking choosing himself and spending time with people that are unhealthy for him. And I ain't fucking doing that no more. If you don't have my best interest at your fingertips, if you're not sitting there saying, man, gosh, I just said something that really hurt Wes's feelings, I'm going to apologize to him. That's who I want to be around. I want to be around somebody real, not somebody who's going to not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right? And when I look at that, that goes all the way back to my childhood of people who would walk away. I'm healing this energy of people easily throw me in the trash because Wesley easily throws himself in the trash. So when I heal the part of me that chooses me, the people that abuse me start to go away. That's how you change that.
Yeah.
Gosh, did I tell everybody I'm not perfect?
Ugh. Why did you bust the illusion, Wes?
I'm shockingly good looking, so I might be able to get away with it. And humble. But if I can't share what I'm going through, how in the fuck am I going to help somebody else?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but sometimes there's people for you and there's people that's not for you. I'm choosing the people that are for me. I choose to be around people that look at themselves at a deep level. They look at what they bring to the table and they heal that shit and they apologize to people and they move forward and they want to be in service. They want to be helping people. They want to have an open heart. They want to be genuine. They tell the truth. They don't fucking hide. They don't manipulate. I'm talking about real people that are safe, that have high vibrations, that have an open heart and carry unconditional love. That's who I spend time with.
Yeah.
So it changes things. It just does. I look at people and think, if I'm going to go hang out with this person, how do I feel before, during, and after? And if I'm not looking forward to spending time with the person with no anxiety, and when I'm with the person, I'm being honored and respected, and when I leave, I feel good, I'm going to do that. When I'm with the wrong people, I have anxiety about going. When I'm there, you have to worry about what you're saying. And when you leave, you don't know what you're going to come back to. Fuck that. I've done that my whole life. I ain't doing that anymore. It's like petting a porcupine. I'm good. You know? So that's what we're talking about this show. That is what this journey's been for me. It's teaching me that stuff. Because I never knew that stuff before. You know who taught me that? Is Trinae. Trinae at the Reiki Wellness Center. She taught me that. She taught me how to think. She taught me how to go through that process. And I appreciate that. And that's why I talk about her, recommend her on the show.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
She is wonderful. I mean, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And I've got these mentors in my life, these super, super fucking strong women. And that's so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. God has just put some people in my life that are 5-star all the way around. And I don't know if I was anywhere else in the country if I'd have any of that. What the fuck's the name of that guy that won all the Olympic awards with swimming?
Oh, Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. Look at his story. If you really look at his story, he was tall, his hands were goofy, they were big, he was super, super awkward. But he was built to be a champion, right? He had all the parts and everything fell into place for him to be this champion. So whoever's listening to this podcast, you're a champion too. What aspects of yourself are you ignoring that you can step into and become the person you're supposed to be? It's that easy.
Wes, that's really powerful. Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. I don't know.
I don't know.
So I am heading out to New York this week. I'm taking Lakota up to New York for this film that she's in, and very grateful to do that and meet the people from Hollywood, which is going to be super cool. I'm not used to that realm, and it's going to be fun. We're going to take a train.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. I'm jealous. Mm-hmm. I wish I was going.
You could take my ticket.
I know, right?
Oh, you're going to Seattle?
I am going to Seattle for work, and I'm really excited. We're going to go to the Space Needle.
Mm-hmm. Well, you work at one of the most amazing places on the planet.
I do.
I love your work.
Yes, I know you do.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the end of the show, right?
Yeah, you wanted to give a message of the beauty and the pain, and I think you delivered, Wes.
Everybody, thank you for listening to the show. We'll see you soon, and have a great week.
You've been listening to Enlightenment Unknown with Wes Coons, your guide on the quest for self-discovery and the version of you we haven't met yet.